we're not very tightly scheduled like that. And part of that is possible because we're a small team, and so this, like, the bigger the team is, the more it a little bit has to behave like an army, where everybody's coordinated and doing something in parallel and all that. We're not quite like that. Now, this is an interesting thing that I always have to deal with, because you have to think, what are you optimizing for, right? And I think if we did do all this project charting stuff all the time, people might actually get more work done. and we might actually do things a little bit faster. However, when you do that, you're in more of a production mode and less of a creative mode, right? And with the games that we make, it's always very important to me that we do the best job that we can, and that we don't just like rush through something. Like, if something is not perfect, right? Like, you look at it and you're like, I'm not really sure that this is as good as it should be. I'm not sure if I like where this part of the game is going, or what this looks like, or the way this gameplay feels, right? A lot of the time people just say, well, that's just what it is, and they ship it, right? And what can we do? We're out of time, or we don't have any other ideas, and they just go, right? But with that kind of thing, those problems really can get fixed if you give them time. Like calendar time, especially. So if you just say, I'm not going to work on this piece of gameplay that I don't like, and I'll come back to it a month later when other parts of the game are done, when more of the, it's like a Sudoku or something, where you're filling out some numbers over here, right? And then you have a better picture later, and you may be able to bring more information to that decision. And if you just said, well, the 2 weeks that I had to solve that problem are gone, and now we're on to these other things in the project, then later, when you know how to solve the problem, you're not giving yourself the time to actually do that and make the game better, right? And so we're fortunate enough, we pay for our own development right now. We don't take money from publishers or anything like that. And so we're able to take more time. And you kind of have to take more time when you're building a programming language and an engine and a game. But hopefully after the programming language is done and the engine is done, we won't have to rewrite both of those things completely to do the next games, and they should go faster.
Absolutely.
But who knows?
I mean, it's basically an investment into the future of your development project.
But also, though, it's not the kind of thing that you would make as a good business decision if you were trying to run it as a business primarily, right? So for the last game, we just wrote an entire game engine. And so, and that took a long time. It took the whole project took 6.5 years for the initial game, right? Yeah, it was a really long time. Not all of that was the engine, but a lot of it, right? And there certainly were people working on engine features that whole time up until ship. So that's a large investment that we're not like if you were trying to run a game company as a business, you would say, okay, we're making The Witness 2 now, right? And we're going to use that engine, and we're going to just have different puzzles, and we're going to try to come up with some idea, right? Or even you wouldn't have made The Witness, right? You would have made Braid 2 way back, in 2009, 2010. And that's just not the way that I ever do things. There are consequences to that, but it's still okay. Like we don't make as much money as we could if we tried to behave like Zynga or somebody, but we do great. And we have a good working environment for people and all that. So so to bring that back, it's like, what are you optimizing for? I'm optimizing for the game being good. That's the number one priority. The game has to be good. Hopefully in a way that other people wouldn't make. If we make a game that some other company could make, then maybe that's not the best use of our time, right? And
that's a nice way.
Yeah, and attempting to, I'm interested in video games as a medium, right? And discovering what they can do and pushing forward what people have done. So if we can do that just a little bit, that's good. And then, of course, you can't ignore the business part, right? So we do have to make money. We do have to pay people. But hopefully, if you do a good enough job at the other things, then you'll probably make enough money, maybe, right?
Yeah.